Greetings and welcome to this episode of the Heal and Restore. I did it
I
again.
heard it. I heard it.
Podcast. You heard that
That
little
little,
Heal and
that
Restore?
little squeal.
How'd that get back in
I
there?
don't know.
I don't know. I've been good about that. Yeah, we're your hosts, Randy and Kathy Boyd. We're here. It's a month of June,
Yep.
and the month of June is all about fathers. Father's Day is coming up here. So we have loaded up this month with interviews with fathers and different scenarios that they're all going through and challenges they have.
I'm excited.
We got a special. I'll let Kathy introduce our guest tonight, but we have a special guest on this podcast. It's going to be a good one. So I hope you stay through the whole thing and listen because it's going to be informative and educational. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be powerful. I really do. But before I introduce our guest, I do want to just put it out there. We have just released our second book, and this book is called Renewing Bonds: 7 Steps to Restoring Your Relationship, and it is now available on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, you can get it in the Kindle version for free until next Wednesday, the 12th, June 12th. So check it out. We love it. We hope that it helps those that pick it up. I know that our first book, How to Heal and Restore Your Marriage, has been beneficial to a lot of people. And this is just like a continuing version of Renewing Bonds.
Yes.
So excited about that.
And I got the third one in the process.
Good for you. See, look at you working away. So anyways, I am excited tonight or today just to have our special guest Jeremy on. And Jeremy, we have known, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that. And we have journeyed with he and his wife, Sochi. And he has a really special story. And so we're calling this podcast is going to be called Dad's Special Journey. And so Jeremy, welcome. I'm just going to give a little bit of background. I'll give a little background. You guys have been married a year and a half, almost 2, it'd be 2 years in November, right?
Yes, going on 2 years. Or going on a year and a half.
Good, okay. I was just thinking, we were there. Randy married you. I just couldn't
Yes.
remember how long ago that was. So Jeremy, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you, your dynamics of your children that you have right now. How many kids between you and Sochi and together, and ages and stuff, so we can have our audience kind of connect to that.
Okay, so me and Sochi, going on 2 years, known each other for 25 years, middle school sweethearts. She has 2 kids from her previous, and I have 2 kids of my own of my previous, and then we have one daughter together.
And this one little daughter is beautiful.
Yes. She's beautiful. She does have Down syndrome. She's 9 months. Our oldest is Edith, she's 17. Our second is Dahlia. She's 14. Then my daughter Jaden. She's 14. Then my son Jace. He's 10.
You guys have got your hands full.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So
they keep us busy.
Yeah, in this episode, we are going to talk to Jeremy about what it's like to to find out that you're having a baby that has special needs, and then in 9 months, what have you learned about yourself and what have you learned about the process? Yeah. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about the beginning, because I know that there was a little bit of a challenge at the very beginning, when you first started talking about maybe having a baby.
Okay, so when we first got together, she did want my wife Sochi, she did want another kid. I wasn't for it. I was okay with just having my own 2, then her having her own 2. We come from a blended family, 2 and 2. Like, I'm okay with that. And during this time, it would actually start arguments. It would start arguments because I always said no, push it aside. But she really wanted to have a kid together. And I was like, no, we're okay. And she even prayed to God to take that desire out of her. So, it wouldn't be a problem or an argument every time we talked about it. But it's funny how things kind of switch around because we weren't trying. But when we found out, it was so funny how she told me. She came out of the restroom and she was crying. And the first thing I told her, I was like, "What'd you do?" And she told me, she's like, "Would you still love me?" And I was like, "Of course I would. What happened?" And she lifts us up the towel and there's a pregnancy test and it says pregnant. And all those thoughts that I had before, not wanting one, they went out the window. I don't know what happened to them. Went out the window, and I was just like, "Is that real? Is that ours? But you're pregnant? We're gonna have a baby?" I was more excited than she was because she was scared how my reaction was or
Yeah.
was gonna be.
Yeah.
I think God reversed the prayer that she had.
Yes,
She didn't miss the
definitely.
desire, and she God took put the desire in you once she was pregnant. So that's pretty
Wow.
awesome. Yeah.
I love that. That's so good. So, you know, you guys, so here you've got your kids, she's got her kids, and now it's kind of like starting over because your youngest is, getting
9 months.
well, no, no, not your youngest at the before when you first found out you were pregnant. Your youngest was, you guys
10
have
years
already
old.
been raising kids. So yeah, you're
Yes.
getting to the point where it's like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. But then this beautiful blessing gets dropped on you, and there was a little turn of events that took place. Once so she went to the doctor and started having some of the normal tests done. Tell us what happened. What was that step?
So the first thing that did happen was got blood work done. She got blood work done because we wanted to find out the sex of the baby so we can have a gender reveal party. But during that time, she had got a call back, and uh, they told her with the blood work being done that our child's gonna have a possibility of Down syndrome. She called me when I was at work crying, and I didn't think nothing of it. I was just thinking like, okay, we're a possibility we're gonna have a kid with Down syndrome. And she actually took the rest of the day off. I came back home. I comforted her, and I was just okay with it. Nothing really clicked in until more uh, seeing the doctor, having ultrasounds. Nothing really clicked in until they started scaring us. Was possible, the baby can be born with a heart defect. The baby's gonna have organ failure. We should have an abortion. Stuff like that.
Mhm. How much did you know? I mean, I follow a couple of families, not several, a couple of families who have Down syndrome children, and it's something that was placed on my heart. I wasn't as familiar with what even Down syndrome was, what the expectations of children and things like that, but I've learned a lot. Did you have any idea what Down syndrome was or how it was going, any of those ideas of how it would affect you at that time when you first found out?
No, I had no learning abilities about it. I mean, I seen kids with it, but I didn't really know much.
Mhm.
So Jeremy, when they first told you, I mean, I imagine there was some fear in it, but other than that, I mean, how did you feel when they told you, hey, I mean, your real feelings down inside, sad, mad, glad, all that stuff. When they said, it's a possibility, strong possibility that it's going to be a Down syndrome. How did that make you feel as a father?
As a father, nothing much had changed. Just I was gonna love this child just the same as all of my other children. So it wasn't really scared until they started, saying all the other stuff with it, like having an abortion. And I was just like, wait, why? Like, why would we do that? God has blessed us with this child, and He put this in our lives, so we're not gonna do that. So I wasn't really how do you say it, scared, but I was still putting my faith in God.
I love
Good.
that.
That's good. That's
That's
really
so
good. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, the families that I've been following, it's the women talk about it, and it's usually the women that are doing all these things, but it's very interesting to me. That's why I thought this would be a beautiful opportunity to share from a man's perspective, how you walk through, that diagnosis. Um, and there were a lot of other things that were kind of going on that were still unknown early on in her pregnancy, from what I recall. Um,
Yes.
so, how did some of that stuff affect you? I mean, I know you guys are very strong in your faith, and I really truly think, and I had conversations with Sochi early on as well. Um, who surrounded you? Who are the people that you went to that you journeyed with during this season? of all of I don't want to call it, I mean, there is fear with it, but your faith overrode that fear. Who were your people that you went to, and why were they important to you in this season?
It was our church family, really. It was our church family. Everything that we were going through, we talked to them about it, and they prayed for us, to comfort us. And I know Sochi was having a hard time because she had already a miscarriage before. So losing another child, I know it's gonna devastate her. So it was really hard for her. So I knew I had to just kind of suck it up and be her comfort zone
Mhm.
at that time. But yeah, a lot of our church friends, they helped us through a lot. And we actually, got to vent out to them to help us and comfort us.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a strong part of the wedding vows through good times and bad times, and you didn't falter one bit through all of this. You were there for her from the very beginning, and I want a lot of men to hear that. That's 100% loyalty, that's 100% faith, and that's 100% what a husband should do, is be there for their spouse no matter what. It shows a deep love for your spouse when you can stand by them, and it wasn't easy for Jeremy. I mean, yeah, he had the faith in God, but,
Yeah.
still, it's just amazing that, and we worked with Jeremy for a couple of years, so we saw him when he first started coming in, and he changed a lot, and this right here is just, to me, I got the chills right now because it's the ultimate. It's
The
Ephesians.
selflessness.
It's selflessness.
Yeah.
It's Ephesians 5:25
Yeah.
to the core. Love your wives as Christ loved the church, and Christ died for the church.
Yeah.
Right,
Amen.
right, and that's
Right.
exactly what Jeremy had done.
Yeah.
Right, so I want men to hear that i- i- it's like that saying, "I'm scared." Okay, well, do it and do it scared, but just be loyal to your wife and faithful to your wife and faithful to God, and He'll get you through anything.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you guys found all of this out fairly early on in the pregnancy. So you had, another 7, 8 months of all that unknown. And then the time came for to have the baby. And so
Right.
what was going on at that time? I mean, I know you guys had basically surrendered everything at that point, which was beautiful. And you were going to love this child no matter what. Um, what what was that birthing experience like? I mean, you had 2 other children. How was this different? Was it the same? What about the birthing process this time?
The birthing process. So when it was actually time to get to have the baby and delivery, it I was excited. I was excited but scared at the same time. But just knowing that I just knowing and praying that I'm gonna have to be a better father than what I was because of our special needs baby. But during the pregnancy, to tell you the truth, I did when the baby first came out, I was excited, and I didn't even like it didn't cross my mind like if she had Down syndrome or not. Like when I saw her, she was crying. I was like, "Oh my God, there's our beautiful daughter." Like the mind of having Down syndrome didn't even cross my mind. It was so funny because Sochi looked at me. She's like, "Does she have Down syndrome?" I was like, "Oh yeah." Like I totally forgot. Like that's what we're waiting for. So
Right.
I even had to ask the doctor. I'm like, because I didn't know what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I had to ask the doctor, I'm like, does she have Down syndrome? And then she came back, she's like, she does. I'm like, okay. But she had 10 fingers, 10 toes. She was perfectly fine. That's all that mattered to me.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
cool, that's great,
That's
yeah.
the beautiful God blessing that
Right.
he just lays right before you. You don't think about anything else but a healthy baby coming out. So
Yes.
that's
It sounds like Jeremy too. I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of fathers out there, not all, but many, that would blame themselves and just, man, what did I do? How come how come what's wrong with me? How come this happened? And I don't.
mm,
We didn't hear anywhere along your journey, Kathy talking to Sochi quite a bit, that you ever had that thought come in your mind, right? I mean,
No.
from the onset, it was a gift from God, and that's all that you cared about.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So what did you name this? I know her name. We know her name. Why don't you share what you named her and how you came up with that name?
So her name is Juliet Miracle Rodriguez. We named her Miracle because she is truly a miracle from God. Because
Uh,
during this whole pregnancy, Sochi was just, was just hit by all the negativity. Like I said, have an abortion. She's gonna grow up with a heart defect. All these negative things throughout her pregnancy. So she couldn't enjoy her pregnancy, throughout the 9 months, couldn't enjoy it because she had all these worries. And like I said, I was just there to comfort her and like God has his last say so.
mhm.
So we're gonna go through this, we're gonna ask for prayers and whatever happens, we're gonna challenge it and we're gonna get through it together. So during that time, we're like, yeah, she's a miracle from God, and that's how we got her name.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. I
That's
love it.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Um,
So, having a Down syndrome
well,
child.
and also besides the besides the Down syndrome, it sounds to me like God proved the doctors wrong.
Yeah,
Other than that,
Oh, yeah, totally,
yeah,
yeah, correct.
yeah, yeah,
God had to find, like I say, God had the final word.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, now that she's here and you guys are learning all these, having to learn things that I'm sure, I don't know, and I'm curious, is it a little different, having a newborn with Down syndrome for you? Or is it different? How different is it? What's different? I'm curious. I'm sure a
yeah,
lot of our listeners wonder what that's like too.
It's a little different, but like I said before, we treat her the same as any other kid, you
Mhm,
know? So if any other kid, the only thing that she does have is probably, oh, well, she doesn't really. They said that she had a mild hearing loss, but going to the doctors this recent time, the doctor said that that is normal for kids with Down syndrome because they have small ear canals.
mhm.
So when she gets older, her ear canals, her ears are gonna grow bigger. So she doesn't even have mild hearing loss either. So we're taking it day by day, and also, like I said, we're just treating her like any other kid with that, like without Down syndrome. But yes, she does.
Yeah,
as it should be. You just
yeah.
gotta love them, period.
Nope,
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
absolutely. And I know she's hitting those milestones too. She's doing all the things that babies are supposed to do.
yes, exactly. Because the doctors had told us she was gonna have no mobility, but within 3 months, the therapist said that she's right at where she needs to be.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I'm curious too, and I know this through some of the people that I follow. We always say it takes a village to raise a child, but when you have a special needs, it takes a big village. And so I know you guys recently have started venturing out and finding some support groups. How has that been for you guys where you live? Because the ones I follow, man, these women, these moms are on it. But how are you guys navigating finding support groups, and what are you learning about yourselves in that process?
Yeah, so there is a couple of support groups that Sochi does follow on social media, and she does reach out to them, talk to them. And there's a recent one that we did join. We did go to a convention or like a little gathering with other kids with Down syndrome,
Mm.
and it was so crazy because one of the kids' parents that are in there, I actually went to high school with them. So it was actually pretty cool to see them there, and then I already know them, so it just made it a little better to know someone in in that community.
Yeah, and that you know that you're not alone. I mean,
Yes.
there is a huge Down syndrome community nationwide, worldwide. It's crazy. So, having a baby, let alone one with special needs, it takes a lot out of parents. We get tired, we get exhausted. What are you doing for your self-care? I know you work hard, but what are you doing for yourself, for your own self-care?
Uh, Me or well, Sochi, my wife, she's my best friend. So there's a lot of things. If I am stressing on anything, I make sure to vent out to her, to talk to her, to open up. Also, I got my man's Bible group. They're all little, they're all Theos to her. They help out a lot. Well, at least when I can like release some stress out and talk to someone.
Mhm. Yeah, and we, you know us, we talk about how the importance of community. And so having that community, I'm sure is just so necessary at this time. So that's great.
Yeah.
The other thing I was wondering, you've got the older kids. How do the older kids react to her? How do I mean, I bet you they have a blast because they're all at such a fun age where they can really enjoy her.
Yeah, they have fun with her. They're always, taking videos, taking selfies with her, just doing new things that really kind of open them up to something different that I haven't seen.
Mm,
I mean, instead of maybe being in the room more often, they come out here and play with her, with toys or something.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
That's
know that the families that I follow, the older siblings, because it seems like the siblings just it's an amazing bond that they
Yeah.
have. And I'm sure that you're experiencing that with your older kids too, just that the bond is going to be so different than maybe what they've had in the past. So that's so awesome. Um, what as we kind of close out this episode, is there anything in particular that really stands out to you that you want to share with the listening audience?
Yes, there is something I did write down. So it's gonna say, watch, stand fast in the faith, be brave, be strong, let all that you do be done with love.
That is beautiful. Yeah. It's, stand steadfast and be brave. I mean, some of these things are all the unknown, that you just never know what you're going to be in. And regardless of what God places before you, be brave and walk through it, and faith over fear. It's all those things.
It's all those
It's
things.
all
Yeah.
those things. And you've done a really, really good job on that. So, this is also a video recording too. Is Sochi and Juliet available that you can pop them on the camera?
Yes, they are. Give me 1 second.
I want to see them, but I'm sure those that are gonna they're gonna want to see how pretty that little girl is. So, Jeremy, we really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on here and doing this with us. I know sometimes these are
Mhm.
hard topics to talk about, but
Yes.
we're grateful that you said yes,
Yeah.
because I'm sure there's other parents out there and other dads that just have not experienced this, or maybe they don't even know what to do. And but like I said, we hear from a lot of the moms, but we don't get to hear from the
Yeah.
dads. So,
So here's Sochi and here's the baby.
hi.
Hi, Sosh. Hi.
Oh, look at you smiling.
Oh, she's all smiley. God, what a beautiful
Say hi.
baby.
Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Miracle.
She's so pretty. Oh, so sweet. Jeremy, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I'm anxious and excited for others to hear, because like I said, the moms have their hands full, but dads have an emotional and spiritual connection as well. And so we appreciate your honesty and your openness and willingness to step out on this.
And you know what? Because I talk a lot about dad's roles in a family, and I have no doubt about this, but Jeremy being the father, he's responsible for that baby's confidence and self-esteem. He's the one that's gonna help to establish and build that baby's self-esteem and confidence. Down syndrome or not, I mean, that it's an important role of a father, is to just dive in and make sure that they love their child no matter what. So I hope the dads out there can really glean off of what Jeremy said tonight. I think it's really important. I'm proud of Jeremy.
Mhm.
Thank you.
They've got a lot, on their hand, but they're
They
I
manage
I
with
can't see
grace.
it. They manage with grace. That's
Yeah, I love
exactly
it.
it. So fathers, no matter what, make sure that you love your children. They need your love. They need you to build their self-esteem and their self-confidence. You are the backbone for the rest of their life by teaching them this stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Soshi, and thank you, Juliet, for coming on.
Bye.
Yeah. I
Look
saw
Beautiful. Well, thank you again, Jeremy.
Huh?
Look at her waving.
Yeah, hi. She's see herself. Is she seeing herself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Well,
I know we can go on.
yeah,
Act like a little kid in front of.
yeah. Oh, have you seen her yet? Have you seen her in person?
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
have.
right, you have.
I
You've been down there, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Kathy's a great mom to all of her spiritual daughters and all of her spiritual granddaughters. Kathy just loves all the women she works with and all their children. So
Yes.
Yeah.
that's what makes it special. So,
Yes.
so, you
Yeah,
know,
we
thanks you guys so much.
calling her mommy.
What's that?
So we can't wait till we get to start calling her mommy, right? One of the
Yeah.
Manny.
Mammy, Mammy, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, thanks again, you guys, so much, and thanks for sharing, Sochi. Thanks for sharing, Jeremy, for sharing Juliet with us as well.
Mhm.
We really appreciate that. It's an honor. So, I guess that's going to be about it, right,
Yeah, I
babe?
know. This dad's special journey comes to an end.
Yeah, it's really nice. Then it got me a little bit today. I'm just sitting there thinking about it. Yeah. So
The emotions came out.
yeah, they're in there. Yeah, a little bit there. So I got the chills and whatnot. So,
Oh, great.
anyway,
I can't wait to hear it.
what's that?
I said I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So, that'll come out tomorrow. It'll be out on
June
June
9th,
9th,
10th.
10th, June 10th.
I'm so
June
lost.
10th.
June 10th, tomorrow, June 10th. So
Yeah,
anyways, that's
yeah,
good.
that's good. All right. So remember, nobody tells you they love you today. Randy does.
Kathy does.
More importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Have a marvelous week.